At 19, after critics questioned whether she really wrote her own songs, Taylor Swift answered by writing an entire album alone. That matters because her strongest argument for artistry has never been fame. It is the work repeated across 20 years. A great pop star can command attention. A great artist makes deliberate choices about language, structure, sound, and point of view. Swift's career is unusually useful because those choices changed in public album by album without erasing the voice underneath. She began as a teenage country writer, not as a finished stadium product. Her debut album arrived in 2006, and she wrote or co-wrote every song, building scenes from school hallways, family cars, first dates, and small humiliations. The important move was specificity. She did not simply announce that heartbreak hurt. She placed emotion inside objects, rooms, weather, gestures, and remembered dialogue. Listeners could borrow the feeling because the scene felt observed rather than assembled from generic declarations. That early voice also understood perspective. A song could be confession, argument, fantasy, or a message delivered too late. The arrangements were accessible, but the narrative engine was precise. Establish a relationship, reveal the fracture, then change what the chorus means. After Fearless became enormous, the predictable suspicion arrived. Perhaps the adults around her deserved the credit. Swift's response was Speak Now, released in 2010 and written entirely by her, with no co-writers listed anywhere on the standard album. Solo authorship does not automatically make an album great. It does make this evidence unusually clean across Speak Now. She handled compact pop hooks, long-form confrontation, comic timing, character sketches, and songs whose sections expand because the emotion needs more room. Then she chose collaboration instead of treating that achievement as a permanent purity test. On Red, she worked with writers and producers including Max Martin and Shellback, using outside expertise to test how her storytelling would behave inside sharper pop structures. Red is intentionally restless. Country instruments, arena rock, electronic textures, and tightly engineered pop occupy the same record. That unevenness is part of the experiment. She was learning which parts of her writing survived when the sonic frame changed completely. With 1989, the test became Focus. The album chose synth pop, short lines, clean beats, and hooks built around how people speak. The shift did not strip away detail. It asked how much of a scene one pop song could hold. Blank Space is the clearest example. Swift took the public caricature of her as a glamorous, serially destructive girlfriend and wrote from inside it. The joke works because the narrator is seductive, self-aware, threatening, and obviously constructed at the same time. Strip away the production and the design remains. In her official GRAMMY Museum performance, Swift explains the concept, then plays Blank Space with one guitar. The melody, internal rhythm, escalating character, and punchlines still carry the entire piece. That is pop craft, not evidence against artistry. Simplicity can be an aesthetic decision, removing harmonic clutter so a phrase lands instantly, repeating a hook until its emotional meaning shifts, or matching hard consonants to a beat so language becomes percussion. Her catalog also resists the idea that one commercial formula explains everything. The maximalism of Red, the controlled surfaces of 1989, the defensive density of Reputation, and the softer intimacy of Lover ask for different performances and different kinds of writing. Then Folklore changed the camera, working remotely with Aaron Dessner during 2020. Swift moved beyond the expectation that every song must be read as diary evidence. She built narrators, imagined histories, and emotional situations that did not require a celebrity timeline. Cardigan, August, and Betty revisit one relationship from different positions. Information arrives unevenly, sympathy moves between characters, and no narrator owns the complete truth. That is not merely confession with changed names, it is deliberate narrative architecture across separate songs. Evermore pushed further into character studies, compromised adults, failed marriages, crimes, grief, and lives that continue beyond the final chorus. The scale stayed intimate, but the authorial distance widened. She could still sound personal while writing beyond literal autobiography. Swift later described her own lyrics as quill, fountain pen, and glitter gel pen songs. The labels are playful, but the principle is serious. Different ideas require different diction, imagery, density, and tone. Craft begins by recognizing which tool a song needs. None of this requires pretending collaborators are invisible. Martin, Shellback, Jack Antonoff, Dessner, Liz Rose, and others helped shape important records. Artistry is not isolation. It is having a recognizable set of decisions while learning what another musician can unlock. The through line is translation. A teenage observation becomes a country scene. A tabloid narrative becomes satire. A private ache becomes fictional characters. A voice memo becomes a global hook. The subject changes, but she keeps converting language into repeatable emotional structure. You can see the influence in artists who followed. Gracie Abrams told Billboard that Swift is someone she continually wants to learn from, asking her to teach everything she knows, while Abrams tries to capture a fully lived experience in songs. Conan Gray called Swift his songwriting icon and said she raised him. Maisie Peters has said hearing Love Story made her pick up a guitar and begin writing. Those are not streaming statistics. They are younger writers describing a direct creative inheritance. Phoebe Bridgers made the artistic judgment even more plainly. Discussing Betty, she called Swift's music high art and described her as the king of her craft, praising how the unresolved story makes the listener decide what is truly sad. None of those endorsements can force anyone to enjoy the music. Taste remains personal. A listener may want rougher vocals, denser harmony, stranger rhythms, or more instrumental risk. That preference is valid, but it is different from saying the craft is absent. Taylor Swift is a pop star because she understands scale. She is more than a pop star because the songs work when scale disappears. The artistry is the voice, the structure, the revision, and the willingness to keep changing the frame. If you enjoyed this take, like, and subscribe for more.